Hey guys, it's Ryan here with HobbiesofaMan once again, and today we're doing another comic book review. Today we're looking at Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong number 2. Although this is actually issue 3 because the story title has a 2 in it, which is kind of annoying. I actually don't like that they did this. They should have done a subtitle, Into Skull Island or something, something a little bit different. But it is what it is. This is by the same team as usual. It's Booktube, it's Duce, it's Guerrero. And this was a pretty good issue, actually. I did like it. I think that this version of the, Godzilla crossovers is a bit better than the one that they have at Marvel. And, I mean, I guess that's just par for the course. I think DC is better than Marvel when it comes to comic books anyways. But I'm not really a fanboy for either. I mean, I like the Marvel movies a lot more than I like the DC movies. But I also think that the DC comic books are generally just much better and much more worth the money that I pay for them than the Marvel comics I usually buy, except for Ultimate Spider-Man. I think that one's awesome. Everything else kind of sucks, but that's not really the point of this video. The point of this video is to talk about the issue that we're discussing today, and it's pretty good. It opens up with Harley at the psychiatrist, and it turns out that it's another version of her, because this is a multiverse story, right? So they're in the legendary universe version of planet Earth, and Harley goes to go find herself, or a version of herself, to talk to get psychiatric help from. And really, she's not doing it for that. She's actually just there in order to try to get information from this version of Harley about where the Joker could be, because apparently the Joker's dead in this universe. I don't remember how. Maybe he died in the previous one, or maybe he just was dead already and I don't remember. I'm not really sure, but basically this version of Harley doesn't know what the hell she's talking about, and so the actual Harley Quinn just says whatever she feels like saying to herself, and then she leaves and goes off to find Mr. J, right? And as this is happening, she goes off to beat up people at Skull Island because she gets a call, right, from the rest of the Doom Patrol, I guess, or sorry, not the Doom Patrol, the Legion of Doom, or the Suicide Squad, or whatever they want to call themselves, right? And then we transition away to Hollow Earth, where we see that Superman and Luthor are having a fight with these 3 Titan gorillas that we see, right, the other Kong people, and Supes is telling him not to kill them, but Lex Luthor is like, no, I'm gonna do whatever I want because I want to get out of here, right? He gets his shit rocked, though. He gets, like, bitch slapped to the ground, and it's pretty funny. He then escapes and leaves Superman there to fight against them himself, or by himself, and then Superman decides that he has to run away as well because he doesn't want to hurt them, and he also doesn't want to get beat up because he's in the inner Earth. There is no sun there, so he's losing power. Although my understanding of it is that Superman does not lose power immediately when he's away from the red sun. He has to, like, actively use his powers for a long time before that happens, right? It's like a battery. A battery doesn't discharge immediately. It takes a while for that to happen, right? And then he has to recharge also kind of slowly. But maybe I'm wrong about that. So it doesn't really make a difference. But basically, this is being used as a way to, give him a crutch so that he's not able to beat the gorillas easily, right? At Skull Island, we see that the Flash and Batman are working out how Lex Luthor has managed to titanify, or, make his monsters grow, basically. And it turns out that it needs a final component. It needs some sort of, like, living energy or radiation from the different kaiju that exist in the legendary universe, right? And so they have to figure out where that's going to be coming from, which I guess is probably Godzilla, and they have to stop them from getting it, right? They need to go back to their own version of the world in order to stop this, so they have to go open the portal, but it doesn't manage to open by itself, and so Flash has to run around, even though he has a concussion and can't move properly, to get the stuff that they need. But then he's ambushed by Cheetah, who actually doesn't have speed powers anyways, even though her name is Cheetah, and she manages to get the jump on him because he is less able than usual because of his concussion, which I still think is kind of like a lame concept, but whatever, that's just me. And then Kong arrives as the portal begins to open because Flash manages to make it work anyways, even though he gets ambushed. I think he beats her, or he just manages to outrun her after the initial scuffle in order to get to the portal. And then Green Lantern shows up to reinforce the team because he wasn't with them in the initial transfer over, right? And then Diana and Supergirl power up and join forces in order to beat the Legion. And they manage to save a girl that's just kind of chilling in one of these Monarch boats. And then the story ends the same way that the original one started, with Superman facing off against Godzilla. And it was a really good issue. I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. It's been a few weeks since I read it, so I don't remember all the details off the top of my head, but I did enjoy it. I think that it took a bit to get really interesting, but now it's there. The thing I'm not quite sure about yet either is that I'm not sure how Superman and Supergirl's powers really work in this version of the universe. Like I said, I don't think that they lose power immediately, and maybe they could get powered up by Godzilla and all the kaiju energy running around, right? So I'm not really sure how that's going to work out. I think it's interesting to have Superman and Supergirl not be able to function properly in the inner world or the inner Earth or whatever you want to call it, but I feel like there has to be a period of time before that happens. And also, even though there's technically not a sun in the inner Earth, there is a way for light to get there. So what is making this light? I think it's actually supposed to be some sort of miniature sun or sunlight streaming down into the depths from the surface. And so that means that there should be sunlight. So I'm not sure how Superman loses his powers. Also, based on the way that it's working here, does Superman lose his powers anytime he goes into a cave? I think the answer to that is no. So I'm not sure why they're doing it this way. So that's one thing I don't like, because I don't really get it. But everything else is working pretty well, and I do like Supergirl and Wonder Woman teaming up. I think that's fun. And the character that they meet, I guess, is supposed to tie into the movies or maybe to the Monarch TV show, but I can't recognize her with the design that they gave her in the comic book. So unless I get someone to tell me what it is or who it is, I don't think I'll figure it out on my own. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys next time.